Get in the game. Heartland Conference. Get in the game.
I'm getting a lot for my money here at LCU.
The value of coming to LCU is priceless. I mean, you get to work around professionals who love you dearly, who love what they're doing, and to put those two together, you can't put a price on it.
I think the most valuable thing about LCU is that I'm receiving an excellent education, but I'm also being spiritually guided through that education.
If a student is on the fence about coming to LCU, this place is one that will change your life forever.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The academics at LCU, they're very strenuous, but they're worthwhile.
I would honestly say that the academics are top-notch. Being in small classrooms and getting to have those personal relationships with your professors really enhances the academic environment and academic experience. It's very easy to learn when you have professors who genuinely know you and genuinely care about your growth intellectually.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
When you meet a St. Mary's graduate, when you meet anybody that has any sort of involvement with St. Mary's, you'll see that they're all good people. In fact, they're great people that care about the community, that care about what they do on a daily basis. And I'm proud to have had the opportunity to attend a university that cares so much about community, about students, and really does give back in a way that can't be matched around the nation.
We are here today in the Rip Griffin Center at the men's and women's basketball games, and we presented a wish to Angel Martinez. We brought him in as our guest. Throughout the whole game, we would have little contests and things that he would win. Our first surprise was to do a name drawing, and then he got a signed basketball from our basketball players. Our second surprise for Angel was he got to go on the court and drive a remote control car into each Star Wars figure, and every one that he hit, he got a prize. And then his final surprise was a fake costume contest, which it was actually his wish reveal that we got to grant him.
So everybody thinks this is a costume contest, but it actually isn't. We're actually here for someone much more special to us. So that special someone is Angel Martinez. You're going to Legoland!
The best part about this is that all of the athletes and a lot of the community here at LSU get to come together and work really hard to raise this money just so that we can make someone's day extremely special.
Sportsmanship is defined as the conduct and attitude of participants in sports, especially when considered commendable, as in fair play, courtesy, and grace in winning or losing.
Sportsmanship is a key value found within St. Edward's University Athletic.
How do you play?
Fairness.
Honesty.
Respect.
Playing sports gives us
Character.
Friendship.
Strength. Respect the players.
Respect the coaches.
Respect the officials.
Respect the game.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are St. Edward's University.
We respect the game.
It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game.
The first step to discovering the world starts by discovering who you are and who God created you to be. You have the potential to change the world by learning how to serve the world. We can show you how. Dallas Baptist University, developing servant leaders, transforming lives.
You are a collection of moments, ambition, lessons, and ideas. Learning isn't buildings or borders. It goes beyond the classroom to places you never imagined. What you do with it makes all the difference in the world. Discover a more dynamic you, a more employable you. Discover the international you at Texas A&M International University.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
On a pair of upsets on the women's side as St. Edward's and St. Mary's advanced yesterday. 3 games already here on the men's side of things. The number 1 seed, University of Arkansas Fort Smith, moves on. Number 2, Lubbock Christian, upset by number 7, Newman. And Dallas Baptist rolls past Texas Perry and Basin on our last telecast. That brings us to the nightcap tonight. Dave and Sean have the side. Guys, let's send it over to you for the 4.
All right, thanks so much. The 5th seed, St. We're hoping to set up the 2nd St. Edward's Fort Smith semifinal tomorrow. Hilltoppers 10-10 in the Heartland. An overall record of 17-11, taking on the Dust Devils of Texas A&M International. The Dust Devils 18-10 overall. Sean, a 13-7 mark. Heartland, these two teams splitting the season series, winning on the opponent's home floor.
Well, when you look at what Texas A&M International has done this season, had a real good start, and through the first half of conference play was in first place. They had some issues middle of the conference season that they could not control. We'll see how this one, big man inside, Arkeem Joseph, to be a fact game. Joseph goes 6'9", former Tennessee State Division in the Ohio Valley Conference. If he is right, they can feed the post. He can rebound, block shots, 5th in the conference in rebounding, 7 a game, can score it at 13.4 a game this season. So Texas A&M International will rely on his play against a very small, not very small, but a smaller front line for St. Edward's.
St. Edward's getting good 3-point shooting from John Gramlich. He has broken out of a long shooting slump, but the last couple of weeks has looked awfully good.
Well, Gramlich is the key, I think, to setting the tone on the perimeter offensively. Really, he's a good shot. Hits about 2 threes a game. They're going to need a little bit more than that from the outside from Gramlich to try to open up the other offensive players like Ramir Burton, who's a slasher, and you have the point guard Frankie McBulu, who can also penetrate, drive, dish, and kick. Gramlich usually results on the wings and top of the key, can shoot that jumper real good as well from the corner.
Gramlich 13 of 19 from beyond the arc his last 3 games. That ups his season percentage from long range to 34%. Should be a good one here as St. Edward's and Texas A&M International hope to meet Fort Smith in our first semifinal tomorrow at 5 o'clock. As Drew mentioned, Fort Smith, Newman, and Dallas Baptist are winners already today. The 1, 3, and 7 seeds moving on. 2 seed Lubbock Christian knocked off by the Newman Jets earlier here at the UMAC in Tulsa. Our nightcap to come. The starting lineups now for St. Edwards and Texas A&M International.
And now it's time to meet tonight's starting lineups. First, the starting 5 for the Hilltoppers of St. Edwards. At the Focus Inside Junior from Leander, Texas, 21, Ethan Gilbert. At the 6'6" senior from Austin, Texas, number 5, Trey Lindsay. At the 6'2" junior from Niagara Falls, New York, 25, Ramir Burton. At another guard, 5'11" senior from Tucson, Arizona, number 10,
These two teams had 2 really good games in the regular season. International held off St. Edwards 61-60 in Austin back on January 14th. But the Hilltoppers returned the favor, 48% shooting in Laredo in a 72-64 win back on February the 13th. And as you mentioned, St. Edwards maybe the most undersized team in the Heartland Conference. International head coach Brian Weekly, he said off the top, he said, our inside game's going to be an advantage. St. Edwards must score points. That's the key to just about every one of their victories in Heartland Conference play this year.
Yeah, we'll see how Lindsay and some of the bigs inside try to defend underneath against Arkeem Joseph, 6 feet 9 inches tall. One of the most spirited teams we've seen at a shoot-around yesterday or today, women's or men's teams, came from this Brian Weekly outfit for Texas A&M International. They continue it during warm-ups and the introductions.
Looking for the big alley-oop early, but Santana misses the layup, and Frankie McBulu will bring it down for St. Edwards wearing their road blues, the Dust Devils in their home whites. McBulu banged up, did not weekend, giving it a go here today in Tulsa on the conference's biggest stage. 10 to shoot. McBulu splitting the defense, but his pass off the leg of Joseph. And a tie-up. Still St. Edwards ball with 7 to shoot.
Good hustle by both Gramblick for St. Edwards and also for Texas A&M International, Kenny Hatch.
McBulu needs to hurry. Finds Lindsay for 3. Off the window and gets the roll.
I'm telling you, there's something about the backboard to our right. That's 4 in 2 days. Right here at the start. Nice looking shot, huh? 8 on a Friday night in T-Town.
Ramir Burton called for the foul out high. His first. Burton score for the Hilltoppers, just over 14 points a game. We saw the St. Edwards women hit 11 threes and knocking off A&M International yesterday. St. Edwards men up 3-zip. Spinning on Lindsay. Off board, put Jordan Vandekop.
Well, Vandekop started his career in this conference with Oklahoma Christian. Texas went the JUCO route after that. Up back in the league with A&M International. He's kind of a garbage guy, but also can shoot the basketball from the mid-range.
Remains now now 14 of his last 20 from beyond the arc the last week and a half.
As Lindsay was setting a screen to free up, Gramlich was knocked on his keister right to the canvas, but Gramlich wide open, buries it top of the key, and they need that from John Gramlich.
Joseph, smaller Lindsay. Van de Kopp walked.
You see, though, evident there, the big man, Joseph, can really pass out of the post as well. Soft hands for the 6'9", Joseph.
He had such good position in the paint, not sure he should have passed. 12.6 boards a game for Joseph coming in. Lindsay posting up on Joseph now, backing him in. And the good big step to the paint. Lindsay makes it 8-2.
Try to use his athleticism against Joseph. That might be to his benefit. I don't know if he's going to get a whole lot of good looks down there, but that was one of them created by people around the side of Joseph.
Andre Cook did not mince words, said we're very disappointed in our 10-10 finish in the Heartland. They had aspirations of getting the 1 seed here. Playing with fire and up 6 in the early going. Hatch. It'll be A&M International ball, but just 4 on the clock.
Watch out for Anthony to be a huge factor in this game as well for A&M International. Alston primarily handles the point guard duties for this Dust Devil ball club.
Gilbert the tip. 3 on the shot clock now. Santana the throw in. Alston got it from long range.
Yeah, he doesn't have any shyness about shooting the basketball from three-point land. They had to launch there, though, with the shot clock dwindling.
His 35th 3 on the year to lead the team. Cuts the deficit in half. Lindsay. A rebound to Van de Kopp.
Interesting tactic, waving hello or goodbye in the face of Lindsay from Joseph, the big man defensively.
First Hilltoppers missed. A 4. Joseph double team. Good feed to Van de Kopp. Scored on the layup. Van de Kopp wanted to foul.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was moving well without the basketball there. Just had it blocked.
That is what Ramir Burton does best, get to the rim, and the Hilltoppers up 5.
Nice transition chance, took advantage of it, and St. Edwards offensively, I wondered how much they would be able to score the basketball in this game. Will it be enough? Right now, it's been a good start. Toppers.
And the GOAT is here with the cheerleading squad.
I see him.
Gramlich the board in transition, 2-on-1. The hands of Alston tipping it away, and here he comes. Hatch left open, wouldn't fire. Double team on Joseph. Just a bit of a bump, but they're calling that more often this year. And Ethan Gilbert picks up his first.
Joseph already having to work harder on the offensive end because of the double teaming down low.
First substitution goes to the Dust Devils. Marcus Hall, 6-foot junior from Palm Springs, California, averaging 2.5 a game. Now on the floor. Double team to Joseph again. From up top, Alston. Van de Kopp the board. Over the shorter Lindsay.
He's what you call a crafty lefty. That's usually reserved for a baseball pitcher, but Van de Kopp, so smooth, just bided his time there, eventually found the opening he liked.
Rebound should be a big edge for the Dust Devils today as Gramlich hits another 3 coming around the Gilbert screen.
Well, you've been good feeding me who the key players should be going into these games. Gramlich, right out of the gates, comes out firing, rocking the 3 ball.
Gilbert the tip. Van de Kopp saves. Ball still on the floor. Joseph picks it up. Hatch. And another offensive board. St. Edwards -8 in the rebound department in Heartland play. Second chance falls, and Van de Kopp will go to the line.
Well, Van de Kopp off to a fairly good start here early for this A&M International team. Despite the St. Edwards lead, the Dust Devils working it inside.
Every Dust Devil point is a second chance point. John Gramlich 2 threes, and the Hilltoppers from Austin up 4.
cheer for the stumbles.
Goat looks a little slow today.
That's going to kill him. Oh, the goat. Hey, it's pretty heavy, you know. That's real fur.
It's, I don't know, it looks almost too big.
Real fur.
For a goat, doesn't it?
Greatness lies.
I'm having trouble fearing him, too. He doesn't look mean enough to me, you know?
Yeah. He needs some kind of mouth that looks like I'm going to bite that straw off
It's
the
in
top of
those
your hat
moments
or something.
that champions are born.
What's it say on the
The
back?
academics at
What's the name?
LCU, they're very strenuous, but they're worthwhile.
I would honestly say that the academics are top notch.
5-3
Being
with 4
in
offensive
small
boards.
classrooms and getting to have those personal relationships
find a
with your
way to
professors really enhances the academic environment and academic experience. It's very easy to learn
Second
when you have
chance,
professors
9-0,
who
right?
genuinely know you and genuinely care about your growth intellectually.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
All 9 of Texas A&M International's points off second chances off of 4 offensive boards. International 4 of 11, St. Edward's 5 of 6 from the floor.
And 3 of those threes, 2 for 2 for Gramblick early. Lindsey has hit one. See how much he pulls the big man Joseph away from the basket, because Lindsey's a guy that can stretch it even though he's listed 6'5" and plays a forward position.
Jordan Vandekamp, 6'5" junior from Missoula, Montana, looking to complete the three-point play and does. 3 fouls on St. Edward so far, 1 each on Gramblick, Gilbert, and Burton. 7 up. 13-10 is the St. Edwards lead. Tough feed for Gilbert and a turnover. St. Edward's second. These two schools just about 3 hours away, Austin and Laredo, Texas. Double on Joseph. Vandekamp gets by Gilbert. 6 to shoot. Jake Einen way off. And a foul down low. They'll get Joseph for pushing Lindsey. His first and International's first. Hilltopper substitute for the first time. Quentin Lilly, 6'4" junior from San Bernardino, California, enters. Averaging just under 9 a game. Also 5.5 boards a contest to lead the team. And he's just at 6'4", leading the team in rebounds. Again, this is an undersized St. Edwards group. Lindsey, cross-court pass, Gramblick, catch and shoot, got another one. Sizzling, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc.
Out of the deep corner swishes it in, one of the tougher shots in the game of basketball.
Talk about being in a zone, 16 for his last 22 from long range. Lindsey tying up Joseph. Oh no, they'll get a foul instead. And the foul is on Lindsey. That's his first. Let's go to Drew Brent.
You were just talking about Grambling out of the corner, and guys, that was one of the things that International was really focusing on coming out of that timeout. He says, guys, look, we are getting way too many open looks over on this end. Grambling hit 3 key threes to open up this first half, and so you're going to be seeing a little bit more tightening down on that perimeter defense, trying to find some good looks for International.
Yeah, St. Edwards 4 of 4 from beyond the arc. They lead 16-10, 6.5 minutes in. Vandekamp doubled. Marcus Hall left open, got it.
Well, they'll have to do that because of the doubling down in the post. Someone will be open on the perimeter for A&M International. Who wants to take and hit the big shots for Tampa U? They've cut it to 3.
Hall just his 3rd 3 of the year.
Yeah, he's not usually a suspect to shoot the 3 from outside.
Burton short. And here comes Alston. Well, they're doubling anyone in the post. They'll give up the 3 to Alston. Off the window on the other side, and we're tied.
Well, Alston capable from outside. That one went off the window, straight off that tape box right around the top of the rim.
St. Ed's is led by 6, but we're now tied. McBulu lapping it around to Burton now. They reset, 11 to shoot. Gramblick gets inside Alston, finds Lilly, too long.
Well, there was a good jump pass there on the bounce feed by Gramblick, but Lilly just could not finish at the rim, overshot it.
Alston steps back. Maybe needed the window that time. Lindsay the board. And whistle away from the ball, I think it's on Alston. They'll get him for holding Lily. Yes. And that is Alston's first, Tammy Hughes' second. Hilltopper ball when we return. Brian Weekly's Dust Devils have rallied to tie things up.
Sportsmanship is defined as the conduct and attitude of participants in sports, especially when considered commendable as in fair play, courtesy, and grace in winning or losing.
Sportsmanship is a key value found within St. Edward's University Athletic.
How do you play?
Fairness.
Honesty.
Respect.
Playing sports gives us
Character.
Friendship.
Strength. Respect the players.
Respect the coaches.
Respect the officials.
respect the game.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are St. Edward's University.
We respect the game. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game.
You see the Texas A&M International Huddle. Now, all teams have the option to take a 25-minute shoot-around in the morning, and Sean, you and I have seen many of those for both the women and the men the last 2 days. And most teams go through the regular routine. There may not be a lot of intensity. It's more relaxed, just going through their shots, getting used to the environment here at the UMAC. For A&M International, you already alluded to it, it's like a mini practice, as intense a shoot-around as I've seen on any level.
Yeah, and one of the players for A&M International was off working on his own on the side, dribbling the basketball, was working up a good sweat, some nice speeds, came over, kept asking you for the time every 3 minutes or so.
Corey McKendry, Aubrey King in for the Hilltoppers.
Wasn't sure what kind of triathlon he was training for.
We were curious. Gramlich in traffic. Rebound into the hands of Greg Mason. St. Ed 6 of 10 from the floor. International 6 of 15. Inside, Davina McCrae working on McKendry. Got his own rebound. Around the rim and in. Andre Cook wanted to walk, didn't get it, and International takes the lead.
International banging bodies down there after that board, though. Almost crashed into each other, grabbing the offensive rebound. Finally able to throw it up and through to take the lead.
King, a good three-point shooter, steps inside the arc and ties the game.
Yeah, they'll need his production as well from those perimeter jump shooters of St. Ed's.
Sophomore from Milano, Texas, averaging just under 8 a game coming in. Hall to the rim, the pretty reverse.
Not known as an offensive weapon for Tammy U, but the Dust Devils. Hall rolling right to the basket. Boy, he's a bowling ball.
Sean Watkins also on the floor, backing up Magulu at the point. Sophomore from Frisco, Texas, wearing number 3. Here's Gramlich now. 4 off the bench for the Hilltoppers with Gramlich as McKendry ties it up off the glass. Hilltoppers will take that. He averages 2.5 a game coming in. It's loud here, a lot of intensity from both benches and the fans behind them.
A lot of talking on the floor among the players as well.
Halfway through the first half, fun so far. Alston drives on Watkins to the rim. Strong box out by Lilly. Inside, McKendry will go to the line. Beautiful feed from Lilly.
Well, McKendry looking to score inside now. Chance from the free throw line for St. Edwards and the Hilltoppers. Try to take advantage of that interior with Joseph out of the ball game over on the bench.
Doesn't see a lot of playing time. The freshman from League City, Texas in the Houston area. 6.5 minutes a game. One more coming. He's 65% from the line this year. Burton in for Gramlich for St. Ed's. And Joseph returns for Tammy U, in addition to Hatch and Vandekop. Alston and Hall remain on the floor. Missed them both. And the Dust Devils with a chance to take the lead. Good news for the Heartland Conference. Colorado Mesa about to fall to the Colorado School of Mines. They're down 9 with 20 seconds left as Hall gives the Dust Devils the lead here by 2.
Hey, how about Hall off the bench for Brian Weekly? Those 7 points, that's production that they usually don't count on.
Watkins, way off. St. Edward's off to the hot start. And despite 8 of 13 shooting, they trail by 2. 12 second chance points for the Dust Devils. Hatch throws it away. Here comes Lilly. By Vandekott, missed the layup. McKendry, the follow to tie things up.
A rare fast break chance for St. Edwards, and nicely done on the follow by McKendry. Just batting it back up over the front of the rim with his right hand. All that while hanging up in the air. Now a steal on the defensive side with that press working.
Burton backs it up to Watkins. So McKendry providing some good size down low, just not a lot of experience. Lilly working on Joseph. King.
Tough guarded shot. Vandekott was right up on him, stapled against his chest.
King, 51 threes to lead the team coming in, although Gramlich has now overtaken him with 3 threes today. Joseph, here comes the double. Alston from up top. St. Edward's basketball.
Once they get it down to the post in deep, every time a double team comes, if Joseph is in there, and I think he's going to have to use better recognition there, get rid of it quicker. He's holding it that time a little bit too long. Otherwise, Vandekott would have been open for a jump shot had he found him at the left elbow.
That air ball, unlike Alston, 42% from beyond the arc coming in. Burton inside, McKendry couldn't control it, and taken away by Hatch. Alston by McKendry to the rim, got it back. King might have altered the shot, and McKendry tips it to Watkins. Dangerous pass, and it's going to be ruled out of bounds because hit off a member of our officiating crew, but it hit Hall first. And our referee was out of bounds, so hence the ball out of bounds. Tied up at 22. St. Edward's with it when we return.
You are a collection of moments, ambition, lessons, and ideas. Learning isn't buildings or borders. It goes beyond the classroom to places you never imagined. What you do with it makes all the difference in the world. Discover a more dynamic you, a more employable you. Discover the international you at Texas A&M International University.
The first step to discovering the world starts by discovering who you are and who God created you to be. You have the potential to change the world by learning how to serve the world. We can show you how. Dallas Baptist University, developing servant leaders, transforming lives.
Quentin Lilly and the St. Edwards Hilltoppers, the 5 seed here in Tulsa, tied up with the 4 seed in Texas A&M International at 22. These two teams met in the first round of the Heartland Conference tournament last year. Of course, only 4 made it, and that tournament was at St. Mary's, hosting as the top seed. St. Ed's was the 3 seed, knocked off the Dust Devils before falling just by 3 to St. Mary's as the Rattlers won another Heartland Conference. Not this year, as St. Mary's, the 8 seed, dropped one earlier today to the top seed in Arkansas, Fort Smith.
Highly competitive game. That was fun to watch. A young team grow up right in front of us.
King, the fadeaway.
He thought he was hit on the arm.
Andre Cook wanted the call. Joseph double teamed inside to Vandekott.
Quick release there. That was much better that time, in rhythm on the feet from Joseph to Vandekott in the paint.
International 10 of 24 shooting. St. Edwards 9 of 17. 6 offensive boards for the Dust Devils, 1 for St. Ed's. King for the lead. Around the rim and out. Lily Feld on the rebound. Let's go to Drew.
Guys, at any point, if you will watch over at the international bench, you'll see the coaching staff making the hand motion, telling their guys to communicate. It's a very effective part of what they do defensively. And in the last timeout huddle, coach is telling his players, look, you've got to communicate, you've got to talk, you've got to find your man. We know how to do this. We need to play our game. So watch for that during the course of this game. They're consistently preaching communication.
All right, Drew, thanks so much. Drew Brent doing a great job on the sidelines last couple of days. He'll be with us through Sunday. As Ramir Burton, his fadeaway ties it up. Boy, good spirited affair here. 6th time the last 2 seasons these teams have met. They get it across to Alston. Alston trapped. Santana left open, no. The athletic Gilbert skying for the board. McBooloo back on the floor and to the rim. St. Edward's back on top.
Well, he just dipped past Joseph, the big man, and glided to the rim, and Joseph left standing like a statue out there at the left lane line. Nicely done by McBooloo, who really hasn't been looking for a shot yet.
Alston, call for the charge. And that's a second. Lilly draws the charge down low. We see it again. Lilly right there. St. Ed's by 2, 26-24. Lindsay checks in, and it's not the starting 5 on the floor for St. Ed's. Bench doing a nice job. Aubrey King with 2, Corey McKendry with 4. John Gramlich with 9 to pace the Hilltoppers so far. McBooloo in traffic and throws it away into the hands of Hatch. Here comes Hall. And lost it, but somehow it found Vandekop, and he'll go to the line for the 3-point play opportunity.
Vandekop more often than not the receiving end of those kind of plays. It looked to be fumbled and somehow found its way trickling through the lane right to Vandekop, who scooped it up and laid it in.
McBooloo's first, St. Edward's 5th. And another lead change as International takes the lead. Joseph and Gilbert had arms locked up and some calm words to separate the two. International by 1.
No harm.
I think Joseph would win that battle had they been locked a little more.
What does he have, about 60 pounds on most?
About. .12 to shoot, and McBooloo lost it again. Back-to-back turnovers for the senior. And Hatch might have gotten away with a walk, but found Joseph for the layup. 5 in a row for the Dust Devils. McBooloo in traffic again. Gilbert the offensive board. For the tie, Burton.
Boy, nice offensive rebound by Gilbert, and instead of going right back up among the bigs for Tampa U defensively, he found the open shooter, and Burton knocks it in from 3.
Just Burton's 10th 3 of the year, tied up at 29. They break the trap, and inside, Vandekop the layup. Andre Cook has really been screaming to the officials all night. He wanted an up and down there on the drive from Vandekop. 12 for Vandekop so far. McBooloo, and a foul call there on Hatch. Hatch's first, Tammy U's 6th. Vandekop takes a breather. Strong game for him so far, 5 of 6 shooting. Greg Mingson replaces him, 6'5" junior from Washington, D.C. And for St. Edward's, Lilly in for Burton. Gilbert for the lead. Good, and a foul! He used the window as well.
That looked way off from our angle. Diagonally, we're lined up right with the rim from the right wing, and he banks it in. He'll take it, and so will the Hilltoppers. They lead in a 4-point play opportunity coming up after this timeout.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The academics at LCU, they're very strenuous, but they're worthwhile.
I would honestly say that the academics are top-notch. Being in small classrooms and getting to have those personal relationships with your professors really enhances the academic environment and academic experience. It's very easy to learn when you have professors who genuinely know you and genuinely care about your growth intellectually.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
David Salzman with Sean Tiemann and Drew Brent. Texas A&M International now down one after the three off the window by Ethan Gilbert. St. Edward's, Sean, 6 of 8 from beyond the arc, and they've closed the rebounding deficit to just 2 at 14-12. Second chance points at one point was 12-0 TAMU. Now it's at 12-7.
Yeah, TAMU has had 6 offensive rebounds, double what St. Edward's has produced, and that probably expected coming into this matchup. But I like what St. Ed's has done with this press, setting it up at times and forcing Texas A&M International just to have to work to bring the ball up the floor. Now, it also has resulted in some made buckets underneath, but right now it's been a spirited game and a close one. That's what we want.
Gilbert won't apologize for the three off the window, and he completes the 4-point play to put the Hilltoppers up 2. Winner gets top seed Arkansas Fort Smith tomorrow at 5. Short turnaround for the winner here in our nightcap tonight. Hall cut off. 10 to shoot for Santana. Mason moves in on Lindsay. Foul down low on International. And that's on Joseph. That's his second. He just has 2 points despite a size advantage against any Hilltopper here tonight. And Vandekop officially 14 points, 5 boards, about to check in for him. It'll be a 1-and-1. That's the 8th team foul on the Dust Devils, and Ethan Gilbert back to the line. Now, Brian Weekly thought that the foul should be called a player control foul, and if that's the case, no free throws. But if it's on the board,
which is what they're signaling.
Now a 1-and-1.
Well, the coach for A&M International, Brian Weekly, was wondering as he thought it was the other way.
Ethan Gilbert stepped up his game the last few weeks. He's up to 9 points a game on the year, almost 10 a game in conference play. Junior from Leander, Texas, in the Austin area. Sixth in a row for the Hilltoppers. All from Ethan Gilbert. Two-three zone for St. Ed's. And a traveling called on Mason.
Yeah, just a little ahead of himself right there on that catch.
That's the 5th international turnover that matches St. Ed's. Mason comes out, Davina McCray replaces him. St. Edward simply does not win games if they shoot in the low 40s or below. Right now they're at 57%, and now better than that is Lindsay. His runner makes it an 8-0 St. Edward's run.
A little bit of a flex like the Hulk inside for Lindsay, who can shoot inside and out. We've seen him hit a 3 already today as well.
Biggest lead for the Hilltoppers. They still play a 2-3. Vandekop. Lindsay with the strip. The lob outlet for McBulu. Thought he got fouled, no call. Hatch the defensive play. Around Gramlich to the rim, pretty move. Nice to the left hand there for Hatch. As it opened up, down the well. Hatch's first two, he has 5 assists as well. McBulu down low. Back to Lindsay. Now Gramlich for 3, missed one. His first miss from beyond the arc tonight. Might have been too wide open there. Inside McCray and Lindsay, or maybe it was Gilbert, got the ball away. Brian Weekly very upset, thought it was a hack down low on the Hilltoppers. Instead, St. Edward's ball, and they call timeout. We'll take it with them. Hilltoppers up 4, 95 seconds left in the first.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
We'll have both the women's and men's semifinals tomorrow. Lubbock Christian, top-ranked team in the nation, taking on the 5-seed St. Mary's and the 6-seed St. Edward's women against the 2-seed Fort Smith. A win by the St. Edward's men will have back-to-back Fort Smith-St. Edward's matchups. 17 to shoot for St. Ed's. And Lindsay got bumped. He'll go to the line to 1-1. McCray picks up his first.
Lindsay has come out here. Looks like he's playing with a lot of joy and passion for this game.
Well, no favors done to him on the defensive end, always going up against bigger opposition. But on the offensive end, he remains at 7 points, also 3 rebounds so far. St. Ed's 3 of 6 from the line, International 2 of 2. And they still play a 2-3 to the Hilltoppers. 13 to shoot for the Dust Devils. Hatch off his foot, Vandekop saves. And to the rim, in and out. Here comes Burton. The outlet to Gramlich. Lindsay missed the follow. Hilltoppers had a chance in transition. Game slowed down a bit. A lot of energy and pace to begin this contest. Santana from the corner. Burton the rebound. Shot clock and game clock about even. Andre Cook says, let's slow it down and get the final shot. John Gramlich, 9 points. Got hot early with 3 threes. He leads the Hilltoppers in scoring. Ramir Burton with 7 on 3 of 4 shooting. Burton on the drive. Lindsay from the corner. Way off. Lilly there. Hatch with the shot. And well off the mark. Fun first half between these two rivals. They split the season series. St. Edward's looking to move on to the semifinals, but A&M International with other ideas. The 4 seed just down 4 here at the break at the UMAC in Tulsa.
When you meet a St. Mary's graduate, when you meet anybody that has any sort of involvement with St. Mary's, you'll see that they're all good people. In fact, they're great people that care about the community, that care about what they do on a daily basis. And I'm proud to have had the opportunity to attend a university that cares so much about community, about students, and really does give back in a way that can't be matched around the nation.
We are here today in the Rip Griffin Center at the men's and women's basketball games, and we presented a wish to Angel Martinez. We brought him in as our guest. Throughout the whole game, we would have little contests and things that he would win. Our first surprise was to do a name drawing, and then he got a signed basketball from our basketball players. Our second surprise for Angel was he got to go on the court and drive a remote control car into each Star Wars figure, and every one that he hit, he got a prize. And then his final surprise was a fake costume contest, which it was actually his wish reveal that we got to grant him.
So everybody thinks this is a costume contest, but it actually isn't. We're actually here for someone much more special to us. So that special someone is Angel Martinez. You're going to Legoland!
The best part about this is that all of the athletes and a lot of the community here at LSU get to come together and work really hard to raise this money just so that we can make someone's day extremely special.
Sportsmanship is defined as the conduct and attitude of participants in sports, especially when considered commendable as in fair play, courtesy, and grace in winning or losing.
Sportsmanship is a key value found within St. Edward's University Athletic.
How do you play?
Fairness,
Honesty.
Respect.
playing sports gives us
Character.
Friendship.
Strength. Respect the players.
Respect the coaches.
Respect the officials.
respect the game.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are St. Edward's University.
We respect the game. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game.
The first step to discovering the world starts by discovering who you are and who God created you to be. You have the potential to change the world by learning how to serve the world. We can show you how. Dallas Baptist University, developing servant leaders, transforming lives.
You are a collection of moments, ambition, lessons, and ideas. Learning isn't buildings or borders. It goes beyond the classroom to places you never imagined. What you do with it makes all the difference in the world. Discover a more dynamic you, a more employable you. Discover the international you at Texas A&M International University.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
If you're the band Europe, you love a final countdown. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Conference. Get in the game. Heartland Conference. Get in the game.
I'm getting a lot for my money here at LCU.
The value of coming to LCU is priceless. I mean, you get to work around professionals who love you dearly, who love what they're doing, and to put those two together, you can't put a price on it.
I think the most valuable thing about LCU is that I'm receiving an excellent education, but I'm also being spiritually guided through that education.
If a student is on the fence about coming to LCU, this place is one that will change your life forever.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The academics at LCU, they're very strenuous, but they're worthwhile.
I would honestly say that the academics are top-notch. Being in small classrooms and getting to have those personal relationships with your professors really enhances the academic environment and academic experience. It's very easy to learn when you have professors who genuinely know you and genuinely care about your growth intellectually.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
When you meet a St. Mary's graduate, when you meet anybody that has any sort of involvement with St. Mary's, you'll see that they're all good people. In fact, they're great people that care about the community, that care about what they do on a daily basis. And I'm proud to have had the opportunity to attend a university that cares so much about the community, about students, and really does give back in a way that can't be matched around the nation.
We are here today in the Rip Griffin Center at the men's and women's basketball games, and we presented a wish to Angel Martinez. We brought him in as our guest. Throughout the whole game, we would have little contests and things that he would win. Our first surprise was to do a name drawing, and then he got a signed basketball from our basketball players. Our second surprise for Angel was he got to go on the court and drive a remote control car into each Star Wars figure, and every one that he hit, he got a prize. And then his final surprise was a fake costume contest, which it was actually his wish reveal that we got to grant him.
So everybody thinks this is a costume contest, but it actually isn't. We're actually here for someone much more special to us. So that special someone is Angel Martinez. You're going to Legoland!
The best part about this is that all of the athletes and a lot of the community here at LSU get to come together and work really hard to raise this money just so that we can make someone's day extremely special.
Sportsmanship is defined as the conduct and attitude of participants in sports, especially when considered commendable as in fair play, courtesy, and grace in winning or losing.
Sportsmanship is a key value found within St. Edward's University Athletic.
How do you play?
Fairness.
Honesty.
Respect.
Playing sports gives us
Character.
Friendship.
Strength. Respect the players.
Respect the coaches.
Respect the officials.
respect the game.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are St. Edward's University.
We respect the game. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game.
The first step to discovering the world starts by discovering who you are and who God created you to be. You have the potential to change the world by learning how to serve the world. We can show you how. Dallas Baptist University, developing servant leaders, transforming lives.
You are a collection of moments, ambition, lessons, and ideas. Learning isn't buildings or borders. It goes beyond the classroom to places you never imagined. What you do with it makes all the difference in the world. Discover a more dynamic you, a more employable you. Discover the international you at Texas A&M International University.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
And we welcome you back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, the site of the Heartland Conference Championship here in 2016. Hello again, everyone. I'm Drew Brent. Coming out of the half, Texas A&M International trailing St. Edwards. The 4 and 5 seeds locked up in a tight one. More coverage coming up from courtside. And let's send it over to you guys.
All right, Drew, thanks. 37-33 is the Hilltopper lead. High first half for the most part, fizzled a bit down the stretch. Hilltoppers hitting just one of their last 6, and A&M International one of their last 4. But overall, St. Edwards 48% shooting, 6 of 10 from beyond the arc, 3 of 6 from the line. International 44% shooting at 14 of 32, 3 of 12 from long range, and they only got to the free throw line twice. That's a surprise because of their inside advantage with their size.
Yeah, points in the paint in favor of A&M International, 20-12. Look to see more of that this half because they have the size advantage. We'll see if St. Edwards continues to throw different defenses at the Dust Devils. Also, they utilize that press, and it worked a few times in that first half for Coach Andre Cook of St. Ed's.
Jordan Vandekop pacing the Dust Devils, 14 points, 6 boards. He's 6 of 8 from the floor. Arkeem Joseph, however, the wide 6'9" senior, just 2 points for him on 1 of 2 shooting. Anthony Alston with 6. Hall off the bench at 7. Kenny Hatch, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals. John Gramlich, 3 threes, 9 points to lead the Hilltoppers. 7 apiece for Trey Lindsay and Ramir Burton. Lindsay also a team high 4 rebounds, 6 points, 3 boards for Ethan Gilbert. And off the bench, Corey McKinstry with 4 key points as the Hilltoppers up by 4, 37-33. These two teams splitting the season series, both winning on the opponent's home floor, but so familiar with each other. St. Edwards, though, coming in losers of 5 of 7. A&M International had the edge in the Heartland Conference for pretty much the first half of the year, then sputtered. Finished, however, at 13-7, 2 games behind eventual champions Roger State.
I don't know if there are 2 other teams that won on the opponent's home floor throughout the league schedule. That
It's
seems
tough.
strange in a conference, much like the rest of college basketball, any level, so tough to win on the road. And now here at a neutral site in Tulsa, both these teams have come out, and I think with the high energy, we'll see a lot of that again in the second half, even though the scoring tapered off a little bit. But the Hilltoppers right now in a good position to beat a Texas A&M International team. It comes in as the 4 seed. I would say maybe slightly favored if you were to put a line on it.
And St. Edwards was an interesting look this season because they got swept by Dallas Baptist but lost on the road in triple overtime. They split with our top seed, Arkansas Fort Smith, and the winner of this game gets. They won at Roger State. Roger State was undefeated, St. Edwards in their first loss, and then won at A&M International as mentioned, but then they lose at Oklahoma Christian 1 week ago, and of course the Eagles didn't even qualify for here. So an up and down year for Andre Cook's squad, Frankie Mabulu and company. They're a veteran group, a lot of seniors on this team, and not wanting to end their season with the loss here today. A victory for St. Edwards will be Andre Cook's 100th of his head coaching career. He's in his 7th season with the Hilltoppers. International with the ball first as the second half is underway. And the buzzer sounded accidentally as Joseph was down low on Lindsay. I don't know if they're going to give him a mulligan because it looked like Joseph hesitated there.
They ought to.
And it looks like they're going to give it to the Hilltoppers. Brian Weekly upset, and I think he has the right to be. Horn sounds, you think, plays. And they're going to say that Joseph should have just kept on. So St. Edward's basketball.
Well, the official goes over to Coach Weekly and says there's nothing I can do about it.
Brian Weekly does have a point, however, but it's St. Edward's basketball. First possession of the second half for the Hilltoppers. Payback maybe? Lindsay called for the foul.
It's the same official that told Coach Weekly there's nothing about it.
Yeah, he there, Trey Lindsay saying, what did I do? His second foul. Okay, essentially we start over. Next up, Lindsay has an extra foul now.
And there's 30 seconds off the clock.
Double on Joseph. Now Alston with 9 to shoot. And a hand check called on Ramir Burton. That's Burton's second.
Dust Devils might have preferred that no whistle came because Hatch hit the 3 on the kick out by Alston.
It was a physical first half, but just 14 fouls total.
A lot of pounding on each other, especially down inside that red paint.
And Joseph called for the push-off. That's his third. Brian Weekly will not go to his bench. Just 51 into half number 2. Backdoor feed, and Gramlich trying to save it. He can't. Turnover for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, low delivery, and then he kicked it, and it rolled into the corner. Gramlich tried to hustle at the end of the bench. St. Ed's pull it in. It was rolling too fast.
And look at Gilbert for pushing with his left hand as he tipped the ball away with his right.
It looks like a defensive back there coming around, a receiver wrapping one side of the body to try to deflect it away, hoping the official didn't see it.
That's his second foul. And Lindsay's crafty at drawing charges. You know he wants Joseph's fourth. And a foul on the drive on Gramlich. Gramlich's second.
Hatch is deceptively fast. He looks like a snowboarder out here. Those leggings, and he hit a circus shot down to our left in the first half with a nice transition left-handed layup. Watch out here.
Catch and shoot 3, way off. Offensive board to Santana. 7th offensive board for International. Though plenty of those came in the first few minutes. The first 9 points for the Dust Devils were all second chance points. A kick by Gramlich and a throw in coming for the Dust Devils with 25 on the shot clock. Still no points this half for either team. Joseph doubled. Santana from the short corner. And the deficit down to 2.
Well, they swung it, found somebody wide open on the reversal by Joseph. It still took Arkeem a little bit too long as he backed away from the double team to get rid of the basketball.
Santana's first 2. Fort Smith team here. They'll play the winner of this one at 5 tomorrow in our first semifinal. And McBilley will go to the line. So we're at 6 fouls total already in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. And that's the 3rd foul on Anthony Alston.
That's when McBulu is at his best. You have to wonder how much the shoulder clavicle injury is bothering him. That's on the front side of his upper torso. Didn't seem to have any ill effects there. And when he draws fouls, goes to the free throw line, could start to pile up some points.
67% from the line coming in, 1 more coming. Let's go to Drew Brent.
Hey, you know, guys, we were talking earlier on in the beginning of the second half, the physical nature of the first half. 6 fouls between the two teams. We knew that this was going to be a factor coming into the second half, but despite the fact that the officials are calling it a little bit tighter than they did in the first half, still a lot of contact from my vantage point, still a lot of physicality underneath that rim. You would have to think that that's going to be a factor in the waning moments of this ballgame.
Yeah, thank you. Both these teams must win the tournament to go to the NCAAs. They'll get Lindsay a foul on the floor, and that's his third, and St. Edward's fifth of the half. Anja Cook will take Lindsay out. Lily check in. A 3-point deficit for the 4th seed A&M International. And interesting, a stoppage of play because every St. Edward Hilltopper on the bench was standing up on the opposite side of the floor.
That's
and so
strange.
a bench warning. Andre Cook, hands in his pockets, not saying a word. Inside Alston, short over McBulu, and Gramblick will chase the rebound, and Alston, that's his 4th.
Well, Alston double sin there. Forced a shot underneath when he didn't have good position inside, and then careened into Gramblick, picked up the foul, trying to retrieve the loose ball after the rejection or missed shot, slapped away.
Alston 15 points a game coming in, 6 today on just 2 of 8 shooting, and now must take a seat for what we assume will be quite a while. Burton backing in on Santana. Gilbert got fouled, and I think that was on a 3. It was fouled in the first half on a 3-point make, made a 4-point play, and now he goes to the line for 3 free throws.
Did a good job of jumping up after a quick shot fake. The defender was still flying past him at the side of Gilbert and hit him with a reach.
Timeout called, and they'll actually look at the review monitor to see if that is a 3-point shot. So we'll take a break with them. Early on half, 38-35, the 5th seed from Austin on top.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Welcome back to the UMAC. Beautiful facility here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's been the site of the Summit League Conference Tournament in past years, and for the first of at least 3 consecutive years, site of the Heartland Conference Basketball Tournament. See Andre Cook. Some words for Quentin Lilly, and as mentioned, he's in his 7th head coach of the Hilltoppers. The win will be his 100th in his head coaching career for St. Ed's. And Brian Weekly in his 5th season as head coach of the Dust Devils.
An Ohio native originally and has some coaching in his family tree, like a lot of coaches at all levels, any sport, fathers or uncles or brothers. Father of Coach Weekly, high school coach, Ohio.
5th straight winning season for the Dust Devils. Their 5th straight Heartland Conference appearance.
Well, no stranger to NCAA tournament appearances either.
Right. So they gave Gilbert 2 shots that a foot was on the line on the foul. And so he just has 1 more. And St. Edward's up 5. Oddly enough, they don't have a field goal attempt to the Hilltoppers this half. There are points from the line, 3 of them. Hatch stepping around Gilbert, stepped on the inline, a turnover.
I thought there was a little bit of excessive body contact by Gilbert. Could have been a foul called. Hatch was trying to dribble around him, and their bodies locked together near the sideline.
Here's Quentin Lilly. Joseph on the floor with 3 fouls. Lilly challenges him for a moment. Now Joseph. Gilbert. But the outside shooting so key for St. Ed. You saw in that possession, and teams have done this for weeks, crowding the paint to prevent Ramir Burton drives. His teammates need to step up, and Gilbert did there.
Now Gilbert up to double figures now with 10. He's feeling the stroke. See how long it took him just to work it across midcourt. Had to really use up some energy, expend it just to get it to the front court.
Shot off the mark, and Gilbert the board. This is St. Ed's biggest lead at 7, and they look to extend it here.
See if Magbulu can try to put a stamp on this game.
John Gramblick, 3 early threes, still on 9 points. At the bottom of your screen, wearing number 1. And now Magbulu with 12 to shoot, feeds Lilly. Burton works on Santana from the elbow off balance. Hatch behind the back, no one expecting it, and Brian Weekly's very upset at that pass. In fact, he's about to take Hatch out. And Hatch fortunately okay as he falls hard just to the left of the stanchion. Timeout on the floor after the turnover. St. Ed's will have it up 7 when we return.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The academics at LCU, they're very strenuous, but they're worthwhile.
I would honestly say that the academics are top-notch. Being in small classrooms and getting to have those personal relationships with your professors really enhances the academic environment and academic experience. It's very easy to learn when you have professors who genuinely know you and genuinely care about your growth intellectually.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
St. Edward's last season, 22-8. It was their best year in almost a decade. They made it to the Heartland Conference Tournament Championship, fell at St. Mary's by just 3. Up and down year for the Hilltoppers, 10-10 in conference. They were 7-1 in the non-conference, Sean, and their only non-conference loss was at Angelo State, ranked 2nd in the South Central region, and that was just by a point. There were high expectations surrounding this Hilltopper team, and disappointed at their 10-10 finish and the 5 seed, but looking to advance to the semifinals against the Fort Smith team that St. Edward's split with in the regular season. First, they try to get by Texas A&M International, and Frankie Magbulu and company up 7.
Yeah, their defense has been good enough to win this game. They've shot 8 more free throws than A&M International as well. 6 of 10, just 2 of 2 for the Dust Devils.
Teams usually shoot awfully well against the Hilltoppers. This foul called down low on International. Well, I think that's on Joseph, and if so, that's his 4th. It is on Arkeem Joseph, so Joseph and Alston with 4 fouls apiece.
And he only has 2 points. He has been ineffective, although has had a couple of good passes out of the post.
Just 41% shooting for Texas A&M International. Hilltopper opponents coming in 47%. That's for the year. Lilly, and the rebound to Santana. International just 44% of their loss at home to St. Edward's almost a month ago as Lilly gets the steal. And then the poke. Good defensive play by Hall. Couple of chances for the Hilltoppers to extend this 7-point lead, but unsuccessful. Mason backing in on Gilbert. Off the glass and good. And then, are they going to call it a violation? No, a whistle away. They're going to allow Santana to tie his shoe. I thought for a moment St. Edwards might have been called for a baseline violation on the throw-in. Burton gets by Santana to the rim. Good and 1.
Nice athleticism for Ramir Burton to hang in the air after the body pump and fading to his left. Put that shot in. Nicely done as he banks it home.
And now Brian Weekly's going to be called for a warning. He's been physical. Right beside us, you can hear him say they feels like his Dust Devils have been called for 2 ticky-tack fouls over the last minute. Lane violation called on Hall. Burton gets another chance. Brian Wheatley is incensed just to the right of us at our officiating crew. Biggest lead for the Hilltoppers at 8. See if the Hilltoppers apply the trap here. Einen on the floor. And able to find Santana. And a foul on Lilly on the bump. That's Lilly's first.
Hesitation whether he was going to go for the steal or not there, and then legs buckled together, connected. That was the foul.
Brian Weekly still having added to our crew as the Dust Devils will inbound. First, Aubrey King to check in.
Well, their credit, they're letting him speak his piece.
Gramlich out. Let's see if Weekly gets his way and gets the Hilltoppers to be called for a foul. 6 on each team this half. 5.5 minutes in. Gilbert stays in front of Mason. Vandekop, best post scorer for the Dust Devils now. And in traffic scores. His first points of the half, he has 16.
Well, they did a lot of that in the first half. They haven't had much of it here in the first 6 minutes of the second, but that will be an opportunity down low if they want to try to creep back in it for Tampa U's offense.
Traveling called on King. 9th St. Edward's turnover. St. Edward's must feel they can take advantage here. Anthony Alston and Arkeem Joseph on the bench with 4 fouls for the Dust Devils. But Tampa U with the ball down 6. Quick double on Vandekop. Andre Cook wants someone other than Vandekop to beat him. Santana to the rim. All 4 of his points this half.
Good penetration toward the right baseline. A lot of teams nowadays in basketball give that drive up. He had to reverse it and go offhand.
$15 still on the shot clock. McBula to step on Einen, good and a foul. Mason called for the block. Close, might have gotten to the spot after McBulu started his jump. And that's automatically a foul on the defender, but so bang, bang, and close. Frankie McBulu, fighting injury the past month. 5 points for the senior from Tucson, Arizona. 1 of 2 at the line. Lead back up to 7.
He had such a huge season last year. It was a big part of what they did, the catalyst at the point guard spot, and a good defender as well.
Yeah, just 2.5 assists a game this year, that number down. He comes out for Watkins.
Deflected there, almost stolen.
Santana fakes the pass, the beautiful move to the rim.
And that opened up the lane, or at least helped finish opening up the lane. And Tampa U took advantage.
Junior from Astoria, New York, helping his team stay in at 6 this half. Long 3 for King, yes!
Absolutely huge shot for King, who doesn't have many takes or makes in this game.
52nd 3 of the season ties Sean Gramlich for the team lead. They double Vandekop again. Now has to give it up. And a steal, Ramir Burton with it. King to Lilly. Steps back for a double-digit lead. Got another one. An 11-point Hilltopper edge.
Yeah, that pump fake was nice, and then had to take a dribble to free himself the last second. The pump fist for Andre Cook, the head coach for St. Edwards, as they go to timeout here.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Still 12-14 to go, but the 4th seed from Laredo down 11 to St. Edwards. And for more on the Dust Devils, here's Drew.
Well, guys, coming out of the last 2 timeouts, the international bench has really been preaching the same thing that we were talking about in the first half, which was communication. And really, the entire coaching staff, we heard one quote, and I can't pinpoint it to the exact coach, but I'll go ahead and give it to you. You can't play this badly during tournament time. A lot of frustration on the international bench, but the overwhelming coach up for this staff right now is you have to communicate. So look at for international to be talking to one another, trying to limit the physicality, trying to limit the foul trouble, and get back into this one.
All right, thanks, Drew. A&M International down 11. And how long does Brian Weekly leave 2 of his 3 players that average in double figures, Arkeem Joseph and Anthony Alston, on the bench? Well, we already have the answer. They are both on the floor with 4 fouls and 12-14 left. Both Joseph and Alston back on the floor for Texas A&M International.
Well, that signals not desperation, but close. Down 11, 12 to play.
They need offense from those 2 guys. Vandekop, 16 points, easily leads the Dust Devils in scoring. And he'll go to the line. The double came from Watkins, then he backed up, and so a rear one-on-one opportunity for Vandekop as he draws the foul on Gilbert. Gilbert's 3rd. And now the media timeout as we're under 12 minutes. 11:59 to go. Vandekop to the line to try to cut it to 9 when we return.
Sportsmanship is defined as the conduct and attitude of participants in sports, especially when considered commendable as in fair play, courtesy, and grace in winning or losing.
Sportsmanship is a key value found within St. Edwards University Athletic.
How do you play?
Fairness.
Honesty.
Respect.
Playing sports gives us
Character.
Friendship.
Strength. Respect the players.
Respect the coaches.
Respect the officials.
respect the game.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are St. Edwards University.
We respect the game. It's not whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game.
Well, the St. Edwards team very good at closing games, 14-2 and leading with 10 minutes left, 16-0 when leading with 5 minutes to go. You see 11:59 remaining and an 11-point lead. Brian Weekly's team down to St. Edwards. And there, by the way, I want to mention that St. Edwards beat International last season at the Heartland Conference Tournament. That was actually Permian Basin. As International here, the 4 seed. Looking to move on to the semifinals, but now must come back as Jordan Vandekop pacing them with 17 points. He's the only Dust Devil in double figures. For St. Edwards, Ethan Gilbert, Ramir Burton with 10, Gramlich with 9, King with 8.
They're going to have to utilize more chances like that. Get to the free throw line here down the stretch. Try to score with that clock stopped. So they've cut it back to single digits.
And perhaps with hopes of keeping Joseph and Alston on the floor with 4 fouls, they play a 2-3 zone. 12 to shoot. Really extending that zone. Alston outside the 3-point line. They find Lilly. McKendry on the floor, gets the rebound, but throws it away. Santana the steal. The double on Vandekop. They swing it around to Einan. I want to cut it to 6. Gramlich, catch and shoot three, his fourth.
That's been a big difference in the game for Texas A&M International. They've only hit 3 threes. And St. Edwards right now up 12 after that make for Gramlich.
Brian Wickley was very upset at Jake Einen for allowing Gramlich to be so open. Joseph forces it. Lilly inside. Will go to the line. Santana the foul, his third. $18 fouls on Tammy Yu, 7 on St. Edwards. 2 timeouts left for the Dust Devils, 3 for the Hilltoppers. Lilly, just 46% from the line this season. Drains the first.
Well, it's that point in the game where A&M International needs to make a run.
And they'll need to get it from their outside shooter. St. Edwards has not been shy at quickly doubling the post players here tonight. But International 3 of 14 from beyond the arc. Lilly drains them both calmly. And St. Edwards is up 14. There was a 4-point lead at the half, 22-12 since. Inside Joseph will go to the line. McKendry will pick up the foul. His first. A St. Edwards win will have back-to-back Fort Smith-St. Edwards matchups tomorrow. The second women's semifinal at 2:30 and the first men's semifinal at 5. Joseph 53% from the line, well short on that shot put attempt. Looked like that slipped out of his hands. That looks better, but in and out. Strong board for Lilly is his third. Rebounds even at 23, and that's a stunner. Hilltoppers out rebounded in conference play by 8 a game. Watkins finds McKendry for the dunk, and the lead is 16.
Well, I don't know how you have a guy that wide open on the backside, but good recognition by St. Edwards. They seem to have all the positive energy right now.
Alston off the mark from 3. King the tip, Joseph the offensive board. Watkins the strip. And here comes John Gramlich. King wants it. Way short, but McKendry is there.
Air ball underneath. Somebody just streaking underneath right there. McKendry, the man who was able to convert.
Tammy Yu, 2 timeouts left. Brian Wickley letting this go. Desperation time, you would think, with 9:20 left, but it feels that way for the Dust Devils. Joseph inside, 2 and a foul. Vandekott found him after being doubled. And Gramlich picks up the foul. Gramlich's third foul. Arkeem Joseph back to the line. Just his second field goal of the night. Averaging 12 a game coming in. They double Gramlich. Still St. Edwards ball. Burton comes in, and it'll be Gramlich to the bench with those 3 fouls.
Well, Gramlich came in averaging 2 3-makes a game. He's done just enough, I think, to help stretch that defense out for Tammy Yu hitting those threes.
He's 4 of 5 from beyond the arc tonight and 17 for his last 24. Last couple of weeks. Watkins wants it from long range, and he's got it. A 19-point St. Edwards lead. An amazing second half for the Hilltoppers.
He doesn't hoist a lot of shots, but they're starting to look like the women's team yesterday.
Yeah, they had 11 threes. St. Edwards now with 10. The men. Lilly the steal. And to the rim, the lead is 21. But Brian Wickley is still keeping his 2 timeouts. He can't wait for the under 8. Santana. McKendry the block, but the foul. Jordan Vandekop with 18, but the rest of the Dust Devils have been held in check. Santana, however, with 6 this half, but not near enough. McKendry looked at the camera and said, I got all ball. Looked like he got a piece of Santana as well. That's good court awareness by Corey McKendry.
Young guy.
Yeah, freshman from League City, Texas. Just 6 minutes a game. But 8 points here tonight on the conference's biggest stage. St. Edwards approaching 60% shooting now. They were 48% in the first half. .16 to shoot. Burton trapped. 7 to shoot now for Lilly. Nice cross-court feed for Burton. That's the 11th three.
They're just pouring it on at this point. An excellent ball movement against the Tampa U zone defense. Boy, did they crack through it with all those passes finding their mark.
Foul down low. You mentioned earlier, worth mentioning again, this is a St. Edwards team with wins over Fort Smith, at International, at Rogers State. And then some losses which have left Andre Cook and staff shaking their heads, but this is the St. Edwards team that's beaten some of the top teams in the conference, dominating A&M International up by 22.
You are a collection of moments, ambition, lessons, and ideas. Learning isn't buildings or borders. It goes beyond the classroom to places you never imagined. What you do with it makes all the difference in the world. Discover a more dynamic you, a more employable you. Discover the international you at Texas A&M International University.
The first step to discovering the world starts by discovering who you are and who God created you to be. You have the potential to change the world by learning how to serve the world. We can show you how. Dallas Baptist University, developing servant leaders, transforming lives.
Well, St. Edwards' motto is fear the goat. That's not the most fearsome goat I've seen, but he and the Palm squad for St. Edwards making the trip up from Austin, having fun, and what a second half by the St. Edwards team, 34-16 over their rivals from Laredo, and the Hilltoppers lead by 22.
I think I saw Topper even make a layup. The name of the GOAT for St. Edwards.
St. Edwards this half, 11 of 15 shooting, including 5 of 7 from beyond the arc and 7 of 8 from the line. International, not bad from the floor, 6 of 13. But the Hilltoppers have been red hot since the break. Let's go to Drew.
Guys, you know, going into that timeout, we've seen the usually intense Brian Weekly go into that huddle with a change in demeanor. He was really more coaching fundamentals. He was encouraging his team, guys, we can get back in this, but really focusing in on the X's and O's. So the usually intense, nearly getting teed up Brian Weekly had a very intense and extremely interesting change in demeanor in that timeout huddle, guys.
All right, thank you, Drew. And when your team is down like this, you just try to get them to relax, and perhaps that will help them improve their play. They need it. Time's not going to go down fast enough for St. Edwards, and it'll look like it's going down awfully quick if you're a Dust Devil fan. 5 to shoot. Watkins left open. In and out.
Just a lot of scrambling defense in that zone now for Tampa U to try to force the issue.
St. Edwards now 11 of 18 from beyond the arc. Alston kept his pivot foot as he slipped. Joseph spins on McKendry, good and a foul. That's a strong move to the baseline for the big senior from Brooklyn, New York.
Really not able to get on track at any point in this game. Nice left-handed hook, though, going off the window for Joseph, who's saddled with some foul trouble as well here in the second half.
Mabulu, Gilbert, Lindsay all return for St. Ed's. And 3 of their bench players, Lilly, McKendry, and Watkins, take a seat.
All playing good minutes. The reserves stepped up big for Andre Cook today.
Every Hilltopper who has played has scored, including 8 on 4 of 4 shooting for Corey McKendry. 18-point deficit for the Dust Devils. They've scored 4 in a row, but still a high hill to climb. And that pass kicked by Santana. St. Edwards has won games with their offense this year, far more than its defense. And they've been impressive from the floor tonight. 6.5 minutes left, 11 to shoot. Lindsay finds Gilbert to Burton. Joseph the block. Alston racing down the floor, but the Hilltoppers get back. Santana though from the corner. Joseph sets up a fresh 30. His pass tipped by Burton and a turnover. 15th turnover for the Dust Devils. Gilbert. St. Edwards has gone cold, but is there enough time for A&M International? Alston pushing, in and out. Tough day for Alston, 2 of 11 for the senior.
Made the right move. Get a little space inside the lane, just couldn't finger roll it in.
St. Edwards in no hurry. Burton inside finds Mabulu.
Wide open backdoor cut by Frankie Mabulu, was all alone on that weak side and dashed in for the 2.
And Mason fouled down low. 5:15 left for this Dust Devil team to pull off what would be quite a comeback. And fouls on Lindsay is 4th. International led for a good part of the first half. A back and forth affair, 7 ties, 4 lead changes in that first half, but all St. Ed's here in half number 2. In our last game, Dallas Baptist blew out Permian Basin, but Falcons just didn't look like they had it. Here, Internationals fought hard, but St. Edwards has just been tremendous, especially since the break. Victor Demetrio, 6'8" sophomore from Brazil, checks in for the first time for the Dust Devils, wearing number 34. Joseph to the bench. And Vandekop on the bench as well. Until now, he'll check in for Mason. Three Hilltoppers in double figures, and then 3 players with 8 points each. Then Trey Lindsay with 7. Gramlich back on the floor, and he gets fouled. It'll be a 1-and-1, 19th foul on Tammy Yu. John Gramlich, one of the better free throw shooters in the conference, 87%. 91% in conference play.
If you're St. Edwards, David, you start to look ahead to tomorrow, I think. A 19-point lead with 5 minutes to go. Hilltoppers seemingly will advance on to day 2, the semifinals on the Saturday here in Tulsa. What a matchup it will be with top seed Arkansas Fort Smith, who won by only 8 earlier today against St. Mary's. Much more size than what St. Ed's will present, but St. Edwards Fort Smith anticipated matchup.
Rare miss from the line from Gramlich, but he gets the board off the Alston miss, who continues to struggle. If it is St. Edwards and Fort Smith, they split the season series, both winning on their home floor. St. Edwards rallied at home from an early deficit to knock off the Lions by 9 back on January 30th on the strength of 51% shooting. High scoring affair in Fort Smith New Year's Eve, but just 38% shooting for the Hilltoppers. They lost by 8. Catch and shoot for Einan. And International now 3 of 17 from beyond the arc. coming up to the 4-minute mark. This conference just so even and so deep. 7 seed has already won, and the 5 seed St. Edwards looks to be on their way. McBooley will go to the line after our final media timeout with the Hilltoppers up 19.
I'm getting a lot for my money here at LCU.
The value of coming to LCU is priceless. I mean, you get to work around professionals who love you dearly, who love what they're doing, and to put those two together, you can't put a price on it.
I think the most valuable thing about LCU is that I'm receiving an excellent education, but I'm also being spiritually guided through that education.
If a student is on the fence about coming to LCU, this place is one that will change your life forever.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
John Gramlich and his Hilltoppers maybe 3:52 away from giving Andre Cook his 100th victory as head coach of the Hilltoppers. We talked to Andre this morning during shoot-around. This is a St. Edwards team that's undersized. They're unable to create a lot of one-on-one matchups, so they have to use a lot of motion movement, passing the ball around to generate points. And I love what Andre said. He said, every game is like going to the dentist. If you're a dentist, you better be concentrating on what you're doing each and every appointment. And kind of with St. Edwards, if they're stagnant, not moving around, then the offense can fall flat. But Frankie Mabulu and company have looked awfully good here tonight in Tulsa.
Yeah, collectively, they have played extremely well, especially here in the second half. Very efficient game on offense.
37-21 this half. And for International, they've had some good looks, but have just struggled from the floor, especially from the outside. 3 of 17 from beyond the arc, and they came in hitting 36% of their shots from long range.
And in this conference, you're going to have to make 7-8 threes a game to realistically have a shot to win, especially once postseason play rolls in.
St. Edwards has 11. Joseph short, second chance too long. And Joseph, his arm was around the neck of Lindsay and threw him down hard. I think that was accidental. Andre Cook wanting the flagrant, but obviously hard contact, and Lindsay is still down.
And I think in that process, the head coach for Tampa U been given a technical foul. Boy, Lindsay's frustrated right now, thought it was intentional. And the slam down by A&M International's Joseph. Looked like he had his elbow attached to the side of Lindsay's head, and maybe a little extra shove. It wasn't like an elbow was thrown. It was just in the vicinity of the ear of Lindsay.
Now, there's a technical. As due to Brian Weekly complaining before, he thought Joseph was fouled on at least one of his 2 attempts. And you see the review monitor, so they'll look at it. You can't look at it to decide whether that foul should be called a flagrant. With 3:38 to go. So assuming St. Edwards holds on here, they will set up semifinal Saturday here at the UMAC in Tulsa. Did anyone come close to beating the top-ranked team in the nation on the women's side in Lubbock Christian? St. Mary's will give it a try. 1 versus 5 seed at noon. And then the first of consecutive Fort Smith-St. Edwards matchups. On the women's side, it'll be 2 versus 6. The Fort Smith women sweeping the season series, including a blowout win in Austin on St. Edwards' home floor. And then for the men's side, it'll be 1 versus 5. Andre Cook's team winning at home over the Lions earlier this season, with Fort Smith winning at home over the Hilltoppers on New Year's Eve. And then the nightcap for the men will be 3 versus 7. And we call Newman a 7 seed, but kind of like St. Edwards, when they play their best, they can play with anyone in the league. And Newman defeating Lubbock Christian, the 2 seed, 81-79. In our second game of the day here in Tulsa.
Well, Andre Cook and St. Edwards bench and coaching staff waiting for the verdict here. It looked like Lindsay had a little bit of blood drawn on the underside of the bottom lip as he was wiping himself down with a towel over at the bench, and the officials have looked at the replay monitor just right here to our right at the broadcast table courtside, and now an explanation over now will come for Andre Cook.
Brian Weekly frustrated at the lack of a whistle on the Akeem Joseph attempts, as he still states his case. As here again, we look at it. Here's Joseph on the tip and just locking arms. I mean, we'll see what they say. It didn't look flagrant to me, although obviously hard foul. And fortunately, Lindsay up okay after being down for about a minute. And let's go to Drew.
And guys, I had a great view sitting from where I am at courtside, and I can't see where it was a flagrant, but both coaches really getting to the officials' ears on that last series. And here's the thing: we talked about this at the very beginning of the second half. We knew that this was going to be a physical game, but temper's starting to flare just a little bit here in the waning moments.
All right, thanks, Drew. No flagrant, but as you said before, Sean, technical foul was called on Brian Weekly, and so that's why John Gramlich is about to be at the line for free throws all on his own.
Now, I guess you could argue what the definition of is an elbow thrown. It didn't look like it was thrown by Joseph, but the elbow was already locking with the head, the side of the head of Lindsay, and that's all how you interpret it, I guess.
So Gramlich cans them both, 14 points, 5 rebounds for Gramlich.
Well, now they will take Lindsay out of the game, and that might be a smart play here with Joseph still on the floor as well. Lindsay thought that was intentional from Joseph.
Quick turnaround for St. Ed's. They'll play at 5, so under 24 hours before their next game. Looking to force the turnover, but St. Ed's, number of good ball handlers on the floor now.
Experienced guys as well.
McKendry is in double figures. Yep, McBulu, Lilly, Lindsay, all seniors. Number of juniors too, including Gramlich, as Santana hits the 3. I really like Brian Weekly. I mean, he's encouraging his team to play hard the full 40, although this one out of reach. John Gramlich, 2 more. International calls timeout. St. Edward's on its way to the semifinals. Impressive in Tulsa in our nightcap here at the UMAC. Didn't know how to end that one.
And the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Fun event here at the UMAC in Tulsa. The men's quarters about to wrap up. Women's quarters yesterday. Now they'll flip-flop that in 2017 as they'll have the conference tournament here at the UMAC again, but it will be the men playing on the Thursday, the women on the Friday. Semifinal Saturday tomorrow. We'll start with the women and then the men's doubleheader at 5 o'clock.
Really looking forward to the double-double St. Edward's and Fort Smith matchups.
23-point lead for St. Ed's. Just 2 double-digit wins for the Hilltoppers in this calendar year, and one was in overtime at Permian Basin. In fact, St. Ed's needed a 3 to force overtime, then defeated the Falcons 107-93. The other double-digit win came at the Hilltoppers' home finale on February the 20th, 22-point victory over Oklahoma Panhandle State.
Well, we will have 4 teams that'll play in the semis tomorrow that are very poised. Newman had a very good second half today, and they came away with a comeback win.
Well, with the men right, complete toss-up. Would not be a surprise if the lower seeds win tomorrow in Newman and St. Edward's. St. Mary's even has the 8 seed growing as the season went along, but they weren't so good away from home, although they gave top seed Fort Smith all they could handle. But as far as 1 through 7, even before today, you could make arguments for any of those teams winning 3. St. Edward's women have a little fun watching their men dominate in the second half over Tammy U. St. Edward's women knocked off the International women yesterday. Much closer affair, just by 6.
Loose bunch.
Alex Dosh Possession or a point St. Edward's way. Dash on the floor, James Taylor as well. And Corey Guderian, senior from Round Rock, Texas in the Austin area. Now McKendry replaces Gilbert as Andre Cook has emptied his bench, and congratulations to him. Solid guy, it's been fun to know him. And now 100 wins in his head coaching career, and Guderian gets the assist to McKendry. And Andre Cook flashes a smile. Santana the board and put back. But Brian Wigley is still coaching hard.
Live and die with it, don't you, if you're a coach?
I like him a lot. His team struggling from the floor today, and St. Edward's since halftime, awfully good. You'll see both teams' press conferences after this one. And I've asked Andre Cook, I wonder if this is the best half his team has played this year. It's certainly up there. 49 points against an international team, giving up 69 a game coming in. 45 points rather. But Sean Watkins adding to that total.
They've had big shots made by plethora of guys, even some that have come off the bench, including Watkins.
One of two for Watkins. Andre Cook says he's good enough to be a starter, but just behind Frankie McBillue. Watkins will be the starter next year, you'd think. Three up and good by Hall. He has 12. Even the international bench continuing to chant defense, although this one well out of reach. And they get the steal. Van de Kopp the layup. 20 for Van de Kopp. He'll be back next year, the junior from Missoula, Montana. One minute to go. Taylor. Alston, tough night for him. 3 of 13 overall as he drains the three.
Well, they're still scrambling and scrapping here down the stretch, and another turnover given right back to St. Edward's. Watkins, not much difference between game to shot clock at this point.
That's the culture of the Dust Devils, and a good one. Permian Basin really not a lot of fight at all in the second half of our last game. But not the case for this Dust Devil squad. Out of bounds to St. Ed's with a shot clock off. So fun day. The two higher seeds to advance. Top seed Fort Smith, third seed Dallas Baptist, and two low seeds to advance, 5 and 7, St. Edward's and Newman. Watkins' foul will go to the line. So 2 quadruple headers down, and partner, we got one to go tomorrow on semifinal Saturday here at the UMAC.
Should be real fun. Looking forward to the semifinal Saturday matchups, both women's and the men's. See if Lubbock Christian continue its dominance on the women's side. St. Mary's, I think, will be ready to compete right from the jump in that game. Then you have the 2 middle games. We talk about it already. St. Edward's and Arkansas, Fort Smith, and Dallas Baptist Newman might be the most fun matchup of the day. Could see 40 combined threes or more hoisted in that game.
You know, both men's games are into the 80s. I'll be surprised. Because all 4 of those teams with really good offenses and like to get it up and down the floor. Winding down here, Van de Kopp, 22. Or rather, the 22 points, I'm sorry, for Van de Kopp. Steal. And the 3 up off the mark. And that'll do it. What a second half for St. Edward's. 47 points since halftime, and Andre Cook's squad moves on to the semis. We'll have consecutive Fort Smith St. Edward's matchups tomorrow. But first we'll begin with the top-ranked team of the nation and Lubbock Christian, their women taking on St. Mary's. Sean Watkins and company, they had fun when they were introduced, and they had fun especially in the second half here at the UMAC in Tulsa. 84-69, the final. We'll be on at noon with the women's semis tomorrow. Until then, for Sean Team and Drew Brent and our entire crew who's done such a great job for 2+ days here at the UMAC, I'm David Salzman. Be sure to join us again noon tomorrow for semifinal Saturday. So long.
Sportsmanship is defined as the conduct and attitude of participants in sports, especially when considered commendable as in fair play, courtesy, and grace in winning or losing.
Sportsmanship is a key value found within St. Edward's University Athletic.
How do you play?
Fairness.
Honesty.
Respect.
Playing sports gives us
Character.
Friendship.
Strength. Respect the players.
Respect the coaches.
Respect the officials.
respect the game.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are St. Edward's University.
We respect the game. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game.
The first step to discovering the world starts by discovering who you are and who God created you to be. You have the potential to change the world by learning how to serve the world. We can show you how. Dallas Baptist University, developing servant leaders, transforming lives.
You are a collection of moments, ambition, lessons, and ideas. Learning isn't buildings or borders. It goes beyond the classroom to places you never imagined. What you do with it makes all the difference in the world. Discover a more dynamic you, a more employable you. Discover the international you at Texas A&M International University.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
If you're the band Europe, you love a final countdown. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Heartland Conference. Get in the game. Heartland Conference. Get in the game.
I'm getting a lot for my money here at LCU.
The value of coming to LCU is priceless. I mean, you get to work around professionals who love you dearly, who love what they're doing, and to put those two together, you can't put a price on it.
I think the most valuable thing about LCU is that I'm receiving an excellent education, but I'm also being spiritually guided through that education.
If a student is on the fence about coming to LCU, this place is one that will change your life forever.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The academics at LCU, they're very strenuous, but they're worthwhile.
I would honestly say that the academics are top-notch. Being in small classrooms and getting to have those personal relationships with your professors really enhances the academic environment and academic experience. It's very easy to learn when you have professors who genuinely know you and genuinely care about your growth intellectually.
Believe, belong, be blue at Lubbock Christian University.
It's big time, right? So we got to that front there. Coach Shirley was the assistant coach with Coach Penders at Texas. Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get going. Here we have the St. Edward's Hilltoppers, head coach Andre Cook. Then we have John Gramlich over here on the left, and we have Frank Mbulu over here on the right. Coach, you want to start us off with a couple comments, and we'll open it up for questions.
I was really proud of our effort today. It's they are so big and so physical and so strong. It's a challenge to play them. Challenge to play Arkeem Joseph, Van de Kopp. They of post guys at you, and we seem like we're constantly doubling. But I thought our game plan to a T. They worked hard. They competed on every possession on the offensive and defensive end to hold that team to 43% shooting and only get out rebounded by them by 3 is a fantastic job. It's a great win for us. Each game against International has been tough and physical, and I was proud of our guys of how we comported ourselves today to get to the semifinals.
How important was it to go inside out for you, because the three-point line was obviously very big for you in this game?
To go in, I mean, when you look at Arkeem Joseph, your immediate thought is to not throw it inside. But in reality, even though he's 6'9" and maybe 275, he's not a shot blocker. He's more of a position defender. So even though we're 6'6" and a lot smaller, and we have got to throw the ball inside. We got to work inside. Got the ball. In these elimination games. In the playoffs, it's good to see the ball go in early. John made some shots for us early, kind of alleviated some pressure from us. We felt good about ourselves, and then we can kind of work our game plan a lot better by going in and out.
You and I talked before the Newman game last week, and you said, top seeds are not going to win all 4 of these games.
Yes.
It's not going to happen.
Yes.
And it didn't happen. Why do you think the league is so spread in terms of talent this year?
I just think I think there's terrific coaches. I'll take myself out of it, but I can talk for the other 7. I think they're terrific coaches. I think everyone is prepared. Everybody knows what everyone's going to do. They recruit hard. They run their systems, and they run it well. And these games are knockdown, drag out every game. And I believe I said to you, I said, Blake, it would not shock me if the 5, 6, 7, 8 are playing in the semifinals. I would not be shocked. Now, there was one game that kind of got away from itself, but the 1-8 game was extremely. You have the 7 Newman and the 5 St. Edwards in the semifinals, and we're pumped to be there.
You mentioned to me that Ramir Burton pretty much needed to play very well for you to have a chance. It didn't seem like he had an elite game today, but he played well enough. Talk about his performance and how he makes you go.
And I love these guys to my left and my right, and they will tell you as well that as great as these guys are, that Ramir's he's our most talented player. He's our guy that can make stuff happen, him and Frank, out of nothing. So we need him when you're playing against an international to make plays. We have to make plays. Well, Ramir made plays tonight. We put a lot of pressure on Ramir, and for him to just have a solid game. And we kind of wanted to go some zone and go bigger, so that got Ramir maybe a little bit less minutes. But nobody gets on Ramir more than I am. But when it's time to sing his praises, I'm right there, and he was terrific tonight.
From three for most of the conference season until a couple of weeks ago. Was there some moment when it changed, or you felt different because your confidence obviously is pretty high?
Mm-hmm. Well, when I've been struggling a little bit, I actually got in the gym a couple times and we were working on my shot. But I mean, all I needed was just see a couple go in, and that's what happened earlier in the Panhandle game, and it kind of continued last weekend. And it's just good to see him go in, especially in these new rims and this big arena. When I saw the first one go in, I just felt really confident from then on out.
Frankie, did you feel a little extra pressure? Coach talked about how John's shots might have alleviated some pressure, but being a senior, is there any more pressure here this year?
I mean, being a senior and there's three other seniors, we felt pressure just because we're the leaders of the team. But like, we have a great supporting cast. Like, we all believe in each other. We all trust in each other. So we're all there to pick each other up. So at the end of the day, if someone's struggling, like, everyone's there for them. So that's why, like, when John hits shots, we know he's going to hit shots. Everyone has complete confidence in him. So, like, once he started hit shots, that will kind of let everyone else relax so we can play better. So.
I know Coach Turley won't let you leave without asking about the new format for the Heartland Conference tournament this year. 8 teams, big building. What do you think?
It is. There are not enough positive things to say, about from the administrators to the commissioner and everybody on down that's worked, the associate commissioner, everybody from the Heartland Conference. This big time feel is just these are great guys. International has terrific guys. Everyone's working hard, but to come here to see the venue, the way everything has been run, a total class organization, and we're thrilled to be a part of it, and we're pumped that we get to come back another day. But hats off, kudos to the Heartland Conference and everyone involved for putting this together for the student athletes.
Frank and John, same question to you guys.
I mean, I really like the format. I thought, like, prior to, like, last year with the 4 teams, I believe that the Heartland Conference is so tough, it's so competitive, that I think moving it to 8 teams was a really good idea, because as you can see how competitive, like, no one knows who's going to win. And I believe that just kind of helps in terms of, like, the automatic bids and stuff like that, playing against each other. I think right now there's 3 teams in the top 8.
The last one, yeah.
And I know previous years we've been getting only 1 team, and I think it just helps show, like, how strong the conference is, and putting 8 teams in it just proves that even more.
Yeah, to add on that, I think it's fun, us all being around the hotel. You don't get a lot of time to mingle with the other team. But, I mean, it's fun to see them. You get to talk with them. The banquet was awesome. And just sitting back and watching the games earlier, it's really fun to just kind of relax and watch them play, because there's some really talented teams in this league.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have Texas A&M International head coach Brian Weekly. We also have number 3, Anthony Alston, and number 3, Arkeem Joseph. Coach, you want to start us off with a couple comments, and then we'll open it up for questions.
I'm just really proud of these 2 guys sitting. We fought through a lot of adversity this year with 4 of our main players going down, and these 2 seniors really stepped up and wanted to have a good rest of the year, and we finished almost nearly winning games and ending the season really well. So I'm just proud of these guys, how they finished.
Coach Gramlich for them had struggled a little bit from the three this season, hit 4 of 5 tonight. What was the focus on him going into tonight's game?
You know, we know they're a three-point team, and you know our goal all week was to run them off the three-point line. And they got some good looks early, and they banked 2 shots in the first half, and that got them going a little bit. You know, and hats off to them because I mean they have a lot of guys back. Those guys have played in the conference championship game. You know, so I expected them to play really well.
In the half, they just kind of gradually built out that lead. What prevented you from cutting in sizably there in the second period?
You know, our bench is pretty shallow because of the injuries this year, and you know, Anthony and Arkeem both had 4 fouls, and they had to sit out for long stretches. And you know, with 2 of the better players in the league sitting out with a shallow bench, it's hard to muster up enough. But you know, that's not taking anything away from St. Edwards. They played a great night.
Do you feel like you're set up for success next season?
The guys come in, and these 2 guys really helped us, serve their teammates and strong. And Anthony's a 2-year guy for us, and he was in the weight room, put on 20 pounds this summer, got a lot of shots up, and the guys saw that. They saw him, stick with it all year, and I think he really laid a great foundation for us for the returning players, coming back. So I think we have with a couple, good recruits, I think we can have another good year.
Arkeem, what are the things you're going to be working on in the offseason to get ready for next season?
He's a senior.
So. My bad. Coach, the 8-team format this year, Heartland Conference Tournament, what did you think?
I thought it was a great job by the whole administration putting this thing together. I know the coaches have really wanted 8 teams, and we not only got 8 teams, but we got in a great venue to come to, and I know that it makes for just a better experience overall for the student athlete. So I'm just really thankful for the people that put this thing on.
Arkeem, if you guys want to answer the same question.
Do you mind repeating the question?
Yeah, just what do you guys think about the new format this year with the tournament, moving to 8 teams and then also a neutral site?
I think that was the best thing for this league. Shows that the league's heading in the right direction with this, and I think it's, like you said, it's good for the Heartland Conference, and it's a good goal for teams to have to set their goals in the beginning of the season.
Same thing he said. I wasn't here last year, but having a neutral floor to play on is probably good for both teams. No home team advantage. It's just play it out and see who's really better.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.